board for WIT. And as you can see, we're joined by people that are also joining us virtually tonight. We tried to make the options so that there could be lots of flexibility. I'm also the lead for Project Search. And prior to my role here at the board, I was a secondary program support teacher and a very passionate program support teacher to transition our students, especially into the community once they graduated. So once I was fortunate enough to come here to the board, I was definitely looking for opportunities to expand programming within our schools to make a difference in the lives of our students who, are graduating at 21 and going into the community and into the world of work. And luckily enough, there came the opportunity for me to, sorry, I just noticed that, so the opportunity for me to write a proposal to the ministry to become part of a pilot project, which was going to be Project Search. So this evening, there's quite a few people I'm going to introduce to you, but I'm just so happy for you to be here. And if I'm a little bit emotional, it's because there's been a lot of work that has gone into this evening. And I'm just so excited. So bear with me, because I cry when I'm happy and I cry when I'm sad. So it's all good. Okay, so I'm going to advance the slide. And we are going to do our land acknowledgement. So we here in the Durham region respectfully acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island. And if you could join me in the sign of our faith, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God our Father, you made each of us in your divine image. Give us courage to break down the barriers that separate us from one another. Help us to recognize the innate talents and abilities you have bestowed upon each of us, so we may develop these in the service of one another. We pray each student who applies to the Project Search program will fully develop their gifts and talents in order to contribute to their communities and to serve in your continuing creation. We offer this prayer to your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. So we've got a packed agenda. We're going to do some introductions, and I ask that for our members of our team that are online, if you can just do a wave, because we've got you up on the side screen so that people can see your lovely faces. And if you're here with us, you still want to wave so that people will know who's on this team, because Project Search is all about teams. And we'll do a little overview of Project Search, how to apply, what the timelines are going to look like. And then we've got some really special guests with us this evening, and I'll introduce them in a moment, that are going to do some student testimonials for us. And then you'll have an opportunity for some questions. So first of all, let's meet our Durham Catholic District School Board team. So first, I think at the back, signing our guests in here, is Susie Lee Fernandez, Superintendent of Special Education for Student Services. She is just as passionate as I am about Project Search, and soon she'll be leaving us. So we also have Paula Surratt with us, who will be our incoming Superintendent of Special Education and Student Services. And then we have Chris Cuddy. He's the principal of Father Donald McClellan Catholic Secondary School. And Project Search is, you're going to find out it's really unique because it's not necessarily in a school, it's in a host business, but it needs to be housed within a school. So Chris is going to be our principal for the program. And then Krista Zupan, who is the vice principal at Father Don. And then me, and Allison Sorrell, who's been my right hand as we've been journeying through this for a couple of years, a pathways coordinator. And then just recently hired Beth Hunter, who comes to us with a multitude of experience from co-op, is our Project Search teacher. And then Denise St. Marie is our program support teacher at Father Don. And then also in the audience tonight, I feel like we have David Flynn somewhere. Yep. There he is, sorry, who is our curriculum chair of guidance at Father Don. And is there anyone else that I'm missing, Allison? No. Or just on the screen, because I can't.
Rebecca's on the screen.
Oh, and Rebecca Zielinski is our student success teacher, sorry. And then joining us from the region, municipality of Durham, we have Allison Hector Alexander. She is the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Patricia Hines, who is the Manager of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Judy Christensen, the Program Coordinator, Accessible Documents at the region. And then Karen Wall, who is Accessibilities Coordinator, and I believe she's right there. And then our next team would be from the Ability Center. So we have Pinder De Silva, who is the Vice President of Programs, Partnerships, and Impact. We have Kelsey Ford, the Manager of Skills Development. Adam Fitzpatrick, the Manager of Therapeutic Recreation. Lindsay Aitken, the Senior Coordinator of Therapeutic Recreation, as well as Andrea Harris, who is our Project Search Skills Trainer. And then joining us online is Molly Michaels, our National Program and Specialist Consultant, who has been guiding us through this process from the beginning. And our special guests, Maria Liberatore, who's the Itinerant Work Experience Teacher and Project Search York Lead. She's at the York Catholic District School Board. She and I became fast friends last July in Baltimore as we attended the Project Search Conference and probably had the best professional development of our lives together. And she has with us Zoe Barron, one of the current interns at Project Search York at the City of Vaughan, as well as Josephine Versillo, another current intern at the Project Search York site. So welcome to all of our guests and thank you to all of our partners for joining us this evening. We're going to start with a video, and this video is going to show you Project Search in action at Halton. And usually the business host is a hospital, so you'll get to see what Project Search looks like in a hospital. Good.
The ultimate goal of Project Search is to support our students through finding competitive employment. We do that through teaching both the soft skills and the employability skills, such as time management, communication skills, self-advocacy, budgeting, teamwork, and they're able to actually practice that in the workplace here at the hospital.
So Project Search for my son has been life-changing at this point for him. He feels like he belongs and he's learning employment skills. So for us, that means that he'll find meaningful employment, and it makes it like we're just more excited about the future for him.
Project Search has given him the ability to become part of a team, doing exactly the same job, doing it very well. And he views himself as someone who's going to be able to be independent, going to work, and really be like everybody else and be part of a team. So he really knows this is his destiny because he can do that now. And it's just a great gift for him.
What I like about Project Search is instead of going for our last year of high school, we come here and have this opportunity to learn a work experience from when we're out in the real life.
We are looking at partnerships, and in our strategic plan, collaboration is a huge component of that. We looked and reached out to the Halton District School Board, Community Living, Autism Life Path to put this program in place and partnering with them.
We're trying to help the students to live independently and to find them meaningful job, to help them with their daily life, to provide to the community.
I think this project is great for Halton. I mean, I don't know where else he would have got this experience.
And so with that, we have a little bit of an introduction into what Project Search is. And I'm going to ask Molly to speak to the next two slides, since she is the program specialist from the United States, and she's in Milwaukee this evening.
Hi, everybody. My name is Molly Michaels. I'm a program specialist for Project Search. So I have the pleasure of working with teams in multiple states and throughout Ontario. So I'm excited to see our friends from York Catholic here as well. As Christine said, I live in Wisconsin, but Project Search, as you'll see, is a global community that is all connected together. So Project Search was established in 1996 at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, which is in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's a very, very large research hospital. And Erin Riley, you can see in the center of that photo right there, was at the time the nursing director of the emergency department for this very large hospital. And she'll tell you the story. She is still our director. And she'll tell the story of looking out into the waiting room one day and thinking, the young people that we serve in this hospital are with us for all of these years, coming in and out for appointments, and yet they don't have a way to be involved in this hospital as employees. And so as a part of, a diversity initiative and as a part of trying to fill needed positions at the hospital, she started by hiring a few people with significant disabilities. And pretty soon she realized they needed a lot more training than was being provided just in a typical job, onboarding that you would get. So Erin thought back about how she learned as a nurse when she was a student nurse. And she said, I went into the hospital and I learned hands-on, and I did training for a year, and I did, everything was building on that training the whole time. We were training and learning more and more and more. And that is the philosophy, the mindset of Project Search. So it started at Cincinnati Children's with a reach out to the local community, to the special education community. And it was originally only just supposed to be at Cincinnati Children's. And as you'll see on the next slide, we've grown significantly. So the goal is to teach employment readiness skills to students with developmental or intellectual disabilities in a single host business over the course of 9 months. They'll talk a little bit more about the structure. And then we are very into tracking data and employment. So we check in on our sites and we make sure that everybody is training, and that folks are getting great jobs and becoming outstanding employees for the community. We went into Ontario in 2019. We were supported by the ODEN, the Ontario Disability Employment Network, and they have continued to help network all of our sites together throughout Canada. You can go to the next slide. So you can see we've grown. We have 731 sites in 10 countries. We're just starting in Italy as well. So that'll be our newest. And this year we went into Iceland. We have 14 sites in Canada, and that is growing, particularly in Ontario. So we're in Manitoba, in PEI, in Ontario. We've served almost 40,000 people since we started tracking data in 2010. Hard to even remember a time when we didn't track data, but we do now. And our overall employment rate sits at about 75% success. So about 75% of graduates who complete Project Search find meaningful work. Let's go to the next section. Thank you. So what's happening in Durham? What's going on for you? Your program will be launching at September 2023. And although Christine said, more than half of our programs are still in healthcare, but we also are in plenty of municipalities, government sites. We're in manufacturing, we're in distribution centers, we're in zoos, we're at universities, we're all over in all kinds of businesses, and it works everywhere because we have a very, very structured model. And that's why we've been working with these folks for over a year now to get them all trained up in your community. You will have 10 interns coming into the program, 1 classroom teacher and 2 skills trainers to provide that hands-on support and continuous training model to your interns, to your kids. And so they will be working towards employment in the community the whole time. And you can learn more about the model in the next few slides.
Thanks, Molly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a little bit of a program description for you. It is a 10-month transition to work program in an authentic work environment, and that work environment will be within the host business of the municipality of Durham Region. In order to qualify, students have to be currently registered as a board student, but going into their final year of high school for next year in September of 2023, there needs to be a diagnosis of an intellectual and/or developmental disability. They can be working toward any certificate or diploma. So it could be the Ontario Secondary School diploma, it could be the Ontario Secondary School certificate or the certificate of achievement. But the goal after high school, and this is super important, is that we are going straight into the world of work. Okay. There will be 3 unpaid internship rotations in the host business. And that is so that we can build on those employability skills throughout the entire time of those internships. And there's continual reflection and feedback that's given, and we'll talk about what the day looks like in a minute. And then 1 year after graduation, this is what's really, really great about Project Search. Students are supported in finding quality employment in the community. So they are actually followed by one of our skills trainers, and there'll be job development and just making sure. So that's why there's such a high percentage of interns that end up getting jobs, because there's more intensive support. And then in terms of who's able to apply, so between the ages of 17 to 20, last year of high school, moving straight to employment upon graduation, and then with appropriate accommodations, must be able to learn to use appropriate social and communication skills in the workplace, be able to take direction and redirection and change behavior as indicated, as well as using public transportation. And we're going to talk about that in a second. And I'm going to call up my friend Allison to do the next section.
Good evening. This is the annual calendar for Project Search. So as you can see, it actually will begin at the end of August, and that's because we are partnered with Durham Region Transit, and they will be doing transit training with your sons and daughters to help them learn how to get to where they need to go for employment. So for, in this case, it'll be the region of Durham, where it's going to be, where the site will be. So they will do the transit training so they can learn how to take the bus based on where they are geographically, because we'll have students coming from Pickering to Oshawa. So that transit training would take place in August. And then they would start in the program with the teacher, with Beth Hunter, beginning after Labor Day, like normal, and they would be coming into the classroom. So there would be a 3-week orientation in the classroom where they're doing curriculum, employability skills, getting ready to go out and do their first internship. So there'll be 3 internships throughout. There's little X's on the line there, and the X's are when they would have their employment planning meetings. And at those employment planning meetings, those are student-led, and that is a time where the parents would come, the teacher would come, the skills trainer would come, the manager of the department where your son or daughter is doing their internship, and they would go over what they are learning. What is going well with their internship, what areas they want to work on, what areas they maybe want to grow, to improve, where they might want to go for their next internship. Those types of things can be discussed as well. So they're going to have 2 of those meetings during each internship. And then there'll be a transition week between, so they do 1 internship, and then they would have a transition week, and then they would be starting another internship. And the internships are all going to be with the Durham region, but they will be different types of internships. So they don't do the same placement the entire year, like such as a regular co-op. If any of your sons or daughters have been in a co-op or a STEP program, and they went for 4 months to Canadian Tire and, was at the same place. So this would be a little bit different in that the internships will be different, and each internship, they're going to build on skills. And the importance of that is ultimately your sons and daughters have a goal of where they want to work once they graduate. And that's what we're working towards. So that's why they're very involved in this process, so that we can build on those skills. And then at the end of June, they would graduate, and we'd have a graduation, and it will be, it'll be lovely. It'll be like a regular graduation, because we see this as their post-secondary. So these are students, they're not going to college or university or apprenticeship. This is their post-secondary year, and then they'll be going to the workplace. And then they will be followed up for a year afterwards by the Ability Center, where they will be helping them to secure employment throughout that year. Are there any questions about the calendar before I go ahead? Yes.
No, sir.
Okay, well, you know what? If you think of it later, just put your hand up and we can we can answer it then.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm just wondering if you can tell me, is it a specialized bus? Or is it just a regular Durham Transit bus?
We will be using Durham Region Transit, so the regular buses we will be using, yes.
No, but I have a son who takes that bus every day and he ends up standing. And my son wouldn't be able to do that. So
Okay, yeah,
but I have a son who takes that bus and he ends up standing for most of the way. And my son, who I'm looking into this for, is not able to do that. So. is
yeah,
there-
and that, yes, there would absolutely be accommodations for that. That's all part of the 2 weeks, is we would look at what the students need in order to get to the placement at Durham Region.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
Hi.
Hi. Can they get any credit for this?
Yes, you can obtain credits through the program if you are working towards credits for an Ontario Secondary School diploma.
How many?
Which depend how many you need for your graduation. So Mr. Flynn is the guidance counselor. So he would work with the teacher and with you as well. And we would figure out the credits on an individual basis, the same way you would at high school, work with your guidance counselor.
Who?
Mr. Flynn, he's right there.
Mr. Flynn? Hi.
Do you know Mr. Flynn? Or no? Oh, okay. You look like.
It's just,
I'm just actually know how many credits I have.
What school are you with?
Doc,
Okay.
Ask Mr. Cannon.
yeah.
Yeah, he'll be able to tell you.
Yes,
What does the transition week look like?
between the two internships?
Yeah. So where do these?
Good question. So all of the classroom will be housed at a central place within Durham Region. That site hasn't exactly been determined yet. So the way that the typical day would start is in a classroom, and I'll get to that in a moment. So the transition week, they would be in that classroom. Mhm. Yes.
Regarding the bus training, looks to me the way it's presented that is almost a mandatory part of the program, so the student cannot be, let's say, communicated by the parents or somebody else.
Well,
If they need to take the bus as part of the learning.
It is part of the learning that a student becomes independent, because after they graduate, they can get to the workplace. But it is individualized as well. So it's not, yeah. So we want to build that in as part of the skills of the program. Learning how to take the bus so that they're not relying on mom or dad, and maybe can gain the confidence to do that in a supportive environment. So during those 2 weeks, they would be with the skills trainer, they would be with the Durham Transit person, et cetera. And I don't know if the Ability Center wants to speak to that, because they do have that program running already. Thank you, Kelsey.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? We do have a Pathways program that is described in the pamphlets that are on your table. And it's our community integration program. So we've been working with Durham Regional Transit, they're fantastic, for the past year or so. So they do individualized transit training. So currently right now, his name is Andrew, meets the job seekers at their house, takes the bus with them to their job site, and all of our job seekers are actually going to their work sites independently right now that we found positions in the community. So it is very individualized. There's a staging process to it. So it's not just Andrew's going to show up at your house and then your son or daughter go on the bus by themselves to get to where they're going. Like Allison has mentioned, it is very supportive. Obviously, if there are barriers or there are challenges, Durham has been great at addressing those. And we're actually in conversation with them to do our LEAD program to make sure that their whole system and the way that the Durham Region Transit kind of model works and is most successful and inclusive with our team back at the Ability Center. So we're taking lots of steps to make sure that they're prepared for this project and not just Project Search. I know that's what we're talking about tonight, but for accessible and inclusive transit for everybody. so that job seekers that have been using the transit system can be successful. So I hope that clears
Thank
up
you,
some,
Kelsey.
questions that we can, yes.
Is this funded, the bus fare, or the parents?
For Pathways, at Ability Center is funded through, our program funding, yes. That is, in conversations, with Generation Transit right now to see, if that would be a possibility for Project Search, which has not been confirmed yet.
He's involved in the pathways right now. He's going.
All right.
You mentioned that the project, it's for them to go straight into the workforce. I just wanted to ask if perhaps this particular student is actually able to go into college. Does it mean they are not eligible for this program?
Correct. Yeah, this is a program for this is a program for students who are going directly to the workplace. So if a student is going to college, they would graduate from high school like all other students and go to college. Graduate, go to university, graduate and do an apprentice.
So basically, is it possible for them to, because it's like possibility when they're not sure, for them to do this program and then maybe years down the line, they're still able to go back into college, would that be allowed?
Yeah, of course, we wouldn't have.
Did some people go to, after high school, they just go to work, but then they don't go to college?
Correct, yes. Yes.
Maybe, can I just make one point of clarification? We really want to try and make sure that everyone coming into our Project Search program is really the intention is to go straight to work. And if you are someone who maybe considering college, I think it's college or university. I think it's really important to discern that and really think about that before applying, because these placements are really integral to setting certain individuals up for a future pathway of going straight to work, if that makes sense. Of course, we know sometimes there might not be 100% certainty, but it's almost like we're asking for 100% certainty that your destination right after college is going to work. That's really who this program is targeting.
On that point, could we, sure, sorry, there are some students in this group who are considering the CSE program, for example, which has a similar workplace preparation focus. So could you compare the programs that, if there's a lot of overlap, there's not really much point to both, is might be accurate, I'm not sure. Maybe you could elaborate on that, but if you're considering college for the CXE program specifically, would that be, would those needs be met by this program?
Yes. So the CEASE program is very similar to this program, except there's a cost involved with that because it's actually hosted at, for instance, Durham College. The CEASE program has, we have 10 spots for all of our boards, so it's a little bit competitive. The CEASE program has 40 spots for all of Durham region. So they're similar programs, but if you did this program, you wouldn't then go and do the CEASE program, because this program is going to bring you to work the same way that program is going to bring you to work as well. Yeah.
I had another question. I still have the microphone. Could you compare and contrast the roles of the Ability Center and the region of Durham? Because I see that they both have a role, but I'm not quite clear where one ends.
Yeah, they are both going to speak. So I won't speak about their roles at this point because they're the specialists for their groups, but they will definitely address how they fit in. So I'm one of the education partners and the Pathways coordinator and working with Christine. And then, yes, so we will get to that. So it's a good question though. So I'll move on. This is a sample daily schedule. So you have an idea of what your day would look like if you're part of the program. So as I said, the day would start in the morning in a classroom, but not a classroom at a high school. The classroom is going to be at the host business, which is the region of Durham. So every day the students will start with Ms. Hunter for about an hour, and where you will do curriculum. So there is curriculum attributed to Project Search. Okay, so she would be going through curriculum, and then that's about an hour. Then they're going to go out to their internship within the host business for about an hour and a half. Then they'll have lunch, of course. lunch they will have wherever they are doing their internship. So they're not coming back to the classroom. It's not like high school where all the kids come back and eat in the cafeteria. They will eat with their work colleagues. They are working. They will be called by their first name. They will call their teacher by their first name. They will call their work colleagues by their first names. They're in the workplace. So they'll have their lunch, then they'll go back and work for another hour and a half. And then at the end of the day, they'll come back to the classroom just to wrap up and go over, how the day went, any reminders and things like that. So that would be a typical day. So when they do that transition week, and the 3 weeks at the beginning that I talked about would all take place in this classroom, this host classroom, and then the transition week as well that we had asked about. Of course.
So they come and get them and they go.
So they come and they get them at their home, say, and they've learned how to take the bus. So they take the bus to the classroom. And then from that classroom because they're not all on the same job site though, would they be?
At this point in time, where the actual internships isn't finalized, I guess you could say.
So I guess my question is, are they going from like a classroom to an internship and having lunch and doing an internship and then coming back on a bus again to a classroom for the end of the day? Like
No.
all in one location, wherever that happens to be.
Yes, for the most part, but if they were traveling out by a bus, they wouldn't come back at the end of the day. No.
Okay, perfect. That's all I was mentioning.
Yeah. So this slide goes over some of the benefits of the Project Search program to the interns. And interns, as you know, is what students are called when they're in Project Search. They refer to them as interns. So they get be able to experience a variety of internships. So rather than just doing one placement as you would in a co-op, they get to do 3 different internships and hopefully in areas of their choosing. So somewhere where they're passionate about, somewhere they might want to work later so that they can develop skills for when they're going in the workplace. And they're going to acquire those skills while they're doing their internship. They're going to gain confidence while they're there, self-esteem, all the great things that we want to build up in our children. Okay. The unique part of it is getting individualized coaching, instruction, and feedback. So while they're out at their internships, they're not just left alone there. The teacher will be going out and rotating around and seeing the 10 students. And then the 2 skills trainers would be doing that all day as well, going and meeting with the students and seeing how they're doing, working with them, working on tasks, etc. And I'll let them explain, the Ability Center explain that one a little bit more because they are where the skills trainers are coming from. And then also another great benefit to Project Search is developing the connections to the Ability Center and adult service agencies throughout the program. So we look at what we want our outcome criteria to be with this program at the end is that success is defined as your son or daughter getting employment with at least 16 hours a week. We don't want to say not more than part-time. Hopefully we're looking for more than 20 hours if possible. Getting at least minimum wage or the prevailing wage for that job. So the same wage as other people doing the same job would get as well. Not that we don't want it to be seasonal in this area, and in an integrated setting. So that would be the outcome criteria for this project. And now I'm going to call up Beth Hunter, who is the teacher of Project Search.
Thanks. Hi, good evening, everybody. I want to talk to you a little bit about myself. I'm currently a teacher at St. Mary, and I've taught what's called the STEP program. So it's a co-op program at the school location. Some of you may already be in the program. I believe it's a fabulous program. I love it. I've taught it for years, and I'm super excited to be part of this team. I also have had experience in program support and student success, but co-op and STEP and this program really is my passion. Before I became a teacher years ago, time flies, I actually used to work in human resources. So I used to work in the hospitals hiring people. So I've seen resumes. I know what people are looking for. So I really like to use that skills that I've had from my previous work and help students really develop those skills so that they can find employment. And this team has been a fabulous team. They've been very welcoming, and I'm very excited to be part of the team. Thank you. Go ahead. Do I need to click it? Yeah, you can see that. There you go. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Andrea Harris, and I'm the skills trainer, and I work for the Ability Center. I just wanted to say how excited I am to be involved in Project Search, but I'm all the more excited to meet the interns and work very closely with them. So a little bit about myself. I am very passionate about working with youth. I really enjoy talking to them about their careers, their employment goals, and helping them throughout that process. As was already mentioned, the first part of my role as a skills trainer will be to teach the interns the specific tasks they need to perform their goals. But before I go into the teaching of it, I really like to get to know the interns, and that'll really help me create a good learning environment that I can tailor it to their specific needs. But I also like to make the whole learning process fun, engaging, and very interactive so that they can grasp those skills. A second role of being a skills trainer is to provide on-the-job support and guidance. So to ensure that the interns are carrying out their duties as required. So essentially, I'll be there with them on the work site every day, being their cheerleader, and just ensuring that in the process, I'll also slowly take some steps back so that they're independent in completing their tasks. And finally, to close, a little bit about my education and work experience. I have training in career counseling, but I've also worked in municipal government for many years. And so I will provide the interns with a lot of support as they do their internships at the regional municipality of Durham. And working with the instructor, Beth, who was here before me, I think we'll work closely to ensure that the interns build a lot of confidence and they feel encouraged to complete their tasks. And we really want to ensure that they are successful in their internship. So I'm excited about the next phase of Project Search, and this is all very exciting. And I will pass it on to Karen.
Hello, my name is Karen Wall, and I'm the Accessibility Coordinator with Durham Region, and I work within the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Division with the CAO's office. And I just echo my team's sentiments about being really excited to begin this process and working on Project Search with the region. So as we mentioned, Durham Region will be the business host site for the interns, and we're providing that online on-site learning space or classroom in the workplace. Regional headquarters is in Whitby on Rosslyn Road, and that is where I work out of. And these work-based learning experiences will include 10 internships in a variety of job sites that are going to be working towards building that relevant experience that's transferable to those employment opportunities upon graduation. And we're a business liaison, and we have on-the-job mentors who are staff with the region who'll be working with the interns in their various departments. So we do have the opportunity to hire those trained graduates at the completion of their experience with Project Search. Oops. There we are. So the internships provide the individual with a multi-skilled foundation and help them gain desired employment at the end of the year. So as I mentioned, there are 3 homes within the region who are going to be participating as host sites. We have the requirement for staff who work in those long-term care homes to have food handlers course, a COVID-19 and TB immunization, and also we have Durham specific training modules that staff take when they become employed with the region. And yeah, so all of it will be within the region and in a location that will be convenient for the interns and everybody to get to through public transit, as we've mentioned already. So does anyone have any questions about this before I move on? Oh, please.
Thank you. The job sites, are they all located in Whitby, or where are they located?
Well, the job sites are being confirmed at this time, but there's a potential for the long-term care homes to be one of the internship sites. And so we have 2 homes in Oshawa and 1 in Whitby. And Durham Region headquarters is also in Whitby, but we do have the possibility for other internship sites throughout the region, but we're looking for something that would be centralized and convenient for that transportation as well.
So the interns will be taking the bus from the classroom to their place of hire, or place of employment, whatever you want to call it. Are they with someone on transit when they go to these places?
Well, it depends. I believe that after they complete the travel training part of, the setting them up for success and everything, that they would be required to take transit independently, yes, to the job site.
The internship will actually happen in the same location as where the classroom is. So there wouldn't be any kind of transit, like the interns wouldn't need to get onto any kind of transit in order to get to the actual internships. Because the host business has the classroom, and that classroom is within where the internships are actually located. So using transit is about getting to the site and then getting home from the site.
So I'm unclear about where 3 long-term care homes fit into if the internships are at the regional headquarters and the classroom is.
Oh, okay, sorry. So
Sorry, if the classroom is at the regional headquarters, the internships are at the regional headquarters, transportation is from home to the regional headquarters and home again, where do the long-term care homes fit in?
It is a location that could potentially be where the internships are, but because we don't know who our interns are yet and what skills need to be developed, our internships haven't been developed yet. So that's a potential site that we're looking at, but the region of Durham has many different opportunities for us. And the goal here in Project Search is to always have a multitude of variety when it comes to internships. So I don't want you to get caught in any particular thinking. This time, we can't tell you yet because we're still working on everything.
There's a lot of maybe
here. It's not a maybe. The region of Durham is our host business site. And from that, we're going to determine where our internships are actually going to be housed. And maybe Molly, do you want to jump in here just to give maybe some more clarification? Because I think you have probably the best experience as the program specialist in how internship development happens.
Yeah, so you're coming in as, the early adopters of Project Search in Durham, right? So you are coming in before the internship development has happened. It's one of the later stages, as they said. They like to know sort of who the interns are going to be, where the needs will be. And so we had a long meeting about it just yesterday, talking about the options for internships. The goal is to have internships that give a variety of different skill building opportunities to interns. And that independence will grow over the course of the 3 internships. So in the beginning, you're asking a lot about transportation, and I understand that because it is one of the biggest parent concerns that we see. And so we're not just going to say, we never in Project Search just say, okay, kid, okay, students, get on the bus and go make your way. It's not like that. It's very, very structured and very thoughtful in the way that this independence, is built. So when you're saying where are the internships going to be, the internships in the classroom will likely be in a central area where they can, at least for the first internship, not do a lot of moving around, not have to do much transportation in location, between locations. And then that may change as interns show their independence and show that they want to learn other things in other areas. Then that circle might get a little broader. But again, this is customized a lot to the cohort of interns who come in. And we're really going to start building those internships in the next few months. And so you'll know more. But the whole goal here is skill building. And so which department you're in or where the internships are, you can learn a lot of different skills in any given location. And so we focus a lot more on skills than what the actual tasks and work are. So I'm not sure if that's making sense. I can't see the room, but it's different from a work experience in that the placement in a certain location and they're just going to be there for the co-op the whole year. It's different from that, and that they'll be moving into different locations based on the skills that they need to learn. So I'm sorry I can't give you more concrete answers. A year from now, they'll be able to whip off what are those internships that have been developed, but it's just not quite there yet. We appreciate your patience.
Thank you, Molly. With that, I'll pass it over to our Ability Center folks here.
Maybe while we're waiting for this transition, I just wanted to highlight, we are insisting on the use of the microphones as it's an accessibility feature. And so, and also so that our guests online can also hear the valuable questions that you're asking. So I'll come around if you have a question and we'll make sure that everyone is able to hear it.
Great.
So you've heard a lot about Ability Center. So what is our role? So on the screen reads, we're responsible for the coordination, training, and supporting the skills trainers, such as Andrea, who will provide job support to all interns. We also will be assisting with the selection of the interns during the interview and skills assessment day that's scheduled for April 26th. And also we'll be supporting and developing the internships, which we just talked about, once they are created. So those individualized things that the interns will need to be successful at their placements, such as creating task lists, job aids, schedules, and implementing a voc fit assessment, which is an essential part of the Project Search framework and model. We're super excited to be part of Project Search. And yeah, I'm going to pass it over to
Thank you, Kels. So the Ability Center Project Search skills trainers on the screen reads, they'll work with each intern on individualized basis at each internship, ensuring development of competitive transferable skills, coaching, constant feedback, etc. So basically whatever that student is going to be needing to build. They will create schedules and task lists. We're also going to be relying heavily with the school board on building these things as well. So we're not recreating any wheels. Partner with managers, mentors to support interns' progress and solve any challenges. And then together with Durham Region Transit, provide interns with transit training. So employment service provider, which is us at Ability Center. So on the screen, we'll support interns by building skills prior to Project Search through the TR in the Schools program. And I see some familiar faces in here now. Job development support upon completion of Project Search, job coaching support upon completion of Project Search, and provide access and referrals to programs and services at Ability Center. So a unique aspect of the partnership between Ability Center and the Catholic Board is our TR in the Schools program, otherwise known as TRIS. So right now, TRIS works with youth, some of whom will be future participants in and interns in Project Search. The team is helping the youth to set the foundational goals and skills needed to transition to community-based programming, which could be sport, recreation, art, pre-employment, employment, volunteering, etc. And that's going to help make them more well-rounded individuals heading into the community. As we're working with the youth in Project Search, we will also be offering and referring them to additional programs that we offer in the evening time at the center. And the skills learned in these other programs and services are only going to help further advance those skills that they're learning for Project Search.
Therapeutic recreation is under Adam's portfolio, and the employment services are under my portfolio. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the job development and job coaching supports that we provide at the center. So our employment department is not an Employment Ontario service provider, which does provide us a little bit of leniency in how we approach services. And we're all about impact and not numbers. So a lot of typical employment service providers, their funding is based on how many people they get placed in jobs, how many people they refer to post-secondary education. Where our Vice President Pinder is fantastic. What she realized was there's a huge gap, obviously, for employment for individuals with disabilities, unfortunately. And so we are filling that gap right now. Our services have been running for 3 years. I moved into this role under my portfolio within the last year. And so what we do is we provide employment readiness workshops, which are outlined in the skills development pamphlet that is on your tables right now. So we have an employabilities program as well as a connect to work program that individuals can go through at the center. As well as once they're registered in our programs, we offer job coaching and job development support. A big gap that we find as well is anybody can find a job, or most people can find a job. But where the system kind of cracks and where there's the big gaps is how can we support people to maintain those positions once they receive them. We have a great team of 4 employment coaches and 2 job developers that the main focus of their roles are supporting individuals on the job once they help find the job. So since June, we've successfully placed over 25 individuals in the local Durham Region community with meaningful employment within the community. So such as places like Farm Boy, Boston Pizza, different restaurants. One of our job seekers this morning just got hired at the Oshawa Public Library. So we're working really hard to build those connections with employers, as well as the students with the Durham Catholic Board, as well as the students going through all of our other programs and services that we do offer at the center. This again is very unique to Project Search, as once the interns are done, obviously Andrea is a part of the team, works very closely with the employment team at the center. So again, it's that 360 centered approach to make sure that the interns are going to be supported, not only when they're going through the Project Search program, but also after through our employment services, through our therapeutic recreation programs, and all the other programs and services that we do offer at the center. That was a lot of information. Does anybody have any questions about the Ability Center or our role within Project Search? Yes. Oh, sorry, just the mic.
I understand that you were gonna select the students for the 10 slots.
We will be part with the whole team. So we all have a role in the assessment day.
Can anyone speak a little bit more about how the selection will be made up? What if we're gonna have 100 students want to participate? Yeah.
Looks like Christine would love to talk about that.
No other questions?
Is there any other questions about the Ability Center before we take a seat? Yes.
Do they have this ability center they can work at the gym?
That could be a potential place. We do have some individuals that have gone through our employment programs that do work at the gym. So potentially, yes. Any other questions?
Working with like,
kind of position in the gym, like what potentially could they do in the gym?
Yeah, so there's tons of roles at the Ability Center. We have individuals that work in our field house.
Maintenance.
Yeah,
Front
a
desk.
lot. It's hard to just say one role. Again, individualized towards the student. We would make sure that if there was an opportunity, we don't carve out certain positions just for individuals with disabilities. So again, that competitive, meaningful employment. So they're amongst their peers, making the same wages, doing the same jobs as all of as everybody within. So we don't do any of that specific job carving within the center or out in the community as well, as that's not the goal of our employment services. I'm seeing no other hands, so I'll pass it over to Christine.
Thanks, Kelsey. Maybe I'll just jump one slide ahead so I can answer your questions here first about the interview and skills assessment day. It will happen on April 26th. It will happen here in this room. This room will be set up differently. There'll be stations around the room. Some of the stations will have, it'll be different tasks because we're going to try to determine what the skill set is of each intern, potential intern. And then one of the stations will also be an interview station. And then we'll probably be kind and have a little station, just have a break, because it could be pretty intense to have an hour to 90 minutes going through the different tasks and being asked to do any kind of skill investigation that we're going to ask them to. So it could be, 4 to 5 different stations that are going to be set up that day. We will ask in the application. So let me go one slide back here. This postcard that's on your tables, on the very back, it has the eligibility requirements as well as a QR code to scan. If you scan this code, it will take you to the application. If you lose this, you can go to any of the school websites and under programs, click on Project Search. That'll take you to the web page. And then you can click where it says application process and key dates. And same application that you're going to get through the postcard, you'll be able to access through the web page. This application went live this morning and it'll be open until April the 3rd. It will close at 5 p.m. because we've set it up that way to close. And at that point, we'll review the different applications. We might reach out to the program support teachers who know your children the best, get a little bit more information. The application also requires, I believe, a reference for like an in-school reference, as well as maybe your child's done some volunteer work, or maybe there's been work that they've been associated with throughout their time in high school, who knows? And we're going to call those references and just, it's a genuine application, essentially, to start that process of understanding how to fill out an application for jobs. So it'll close on the 3rd, and then the skills assessment will happen on April 26th. And we will email you with the details of the time in the application. You will be able to choose times that are convenient for you during that day. And just so you know up front, because this is independent, when you do drop off your children, we're going to have a lovely area out there for the parents. And we're going to close the doors, not because we don't love you, but because sometimes us as teachers, we push them a little bit harder, maybe in different ways than you do, right? So don't be surprised if we ask you to just stay on that side and kind of leave it to us and trust us. So once that skills assessment day is happening, then by May the 1st, you will get some sort of admission letter or information that indicates whether or not your child was successful to the program. And then on May 8th, we're going to have a really special signing day here at the board with the team, as well as you and anybody else in your family who supports your child. Because I said in the beginning, this is all about teamwork, and it takes a village to raise a child. So I've just introduced you to the Project Search Village that is totally and 100% ready, willing, and wanting to be there to work with your child as an intern through Project Search and help them to be supported to get gainful employment after graduation. So with that, one last thing, because I know that you're all well connected in our community. Part of the success of Project Search requires us to have the Business Advisory Council. So what this is are community champions. So I would love for you to email projectsearch@dcdsb. I challenged you tonight, and give me the names of businesses that would be ready to hire our interns after that transition to work program ends and they've graduated and now they're looking for employment. We will meet 4 to 6 times a year, and who is ever on our Business Advisory Council will also act as champions to go and talk to others that are in other fields, so that we can have a lot of different industries that are actually represented for different types of jobs. So if your child is not ready this year to apply, because I know that the program support teachers have also reached out so that you can start thinking about this as a pathway, as Project Search being a pathway for your child. If you're not applying now, maybe there's a business that you can hook me up to, okay? Because we need to form a really strong business advisory council. And with this, I'm going to ask that we stop recording.